Today, I want to talk about something subtle but powerful. It is the idea that we often feel rewarded simply by gaining access to something, even if we never actually use it. Buying the course, saving the outfit, bookmarking the restaurant, purchasing the book. The action feels productive. The usage never arrives. Yet somehow, we still feel satisfied. This is what I call the phantom consumption effect. Consumption shifts from use to possibility. Traditionally, consumption meant using something. You bought a book to read it. You joined a gym to exercise. Now, consumption often means owning the possibility of using something. Access replaces action. The online course symbolizes discipline. The saved outfit symbolizes confidence. The bookmarked resto symbolizes sophistication. We are not just buying products, we are buying versions of our future selves. So, why does anticipation feel better than usage? Neuroscience offers part of the answer. Research on dopamine shows that it is more strongly linked to anticipation than to reward itself. The brain becomes highly active when it expects pleasure, often more than when it receives it. In simple terms, imagining improvement can feel more exciting than doing the work required to achieve it. Enrolling in a course feels energizing. Planning a transformation feels inspiring. Buying a notebook feels like progress. The purchase becomes emotional proof that change is coming. There is also something psychologists describe as intention completion. Once we take a small step, such as buying a course, the mind relaxes slightly, as if progress has already begun. You feel closer to becoming the person who completes it, even if you never start. The data reflects this pattern. Large-scale online courses often have completion rate below 15%. Streaming platforms contain enormous amounts of saved content that is never watched. In e-commerce, especially in fashion and home decor, browsing and wish lists vastly exceed actual purchase and use. There is a measurable gap between acquisition and utilization. The pattern is not rare, it is normal. In digital culture, ownership increasingly means access rather than physical possession. You can own access to knowledge, access to style, access to experiences, and access alone can feel meaningful. Possibility itself becomes a commodity. Owning potential begins to substitute for lived reality. From a market perspective, this dynamic is powerful. Digital goods are frictionless. There is almost no cost to over accumulating them. Purchases reinforce identity. Buying a language course says, I'm someone who learns languages, even before the first lesson. Subscriptions thrive on this logic. Many platforms depend on the fact that we overestimate our future usage. Gym memberships are a classic example. A large share of members attend irregularly, yet continue paying because the membership symbolizes commitment. And when products go unused, they are rarely judged critically. So anticipation remains intact. We usually think of procrastination as avoidance. But in this framework, procrastination becomes a form of consumption. You are not doing nothing, you are consuming the feeling of future productivity. The act of buying replaces the act of doing. Philosophy has long distinguished between potential and actual being. Aristotle separated what we could become from what we become through action. When you buy a course and never open it, you are purchasing potential. The satisfaction comes from proximity to a future self, not from actual transformation. Existential thinkers like Jean Paul Sartre argued that identity is formed through action. Phantom consumption disrupts that logic. It allows identity to be symbolically performed without being lived. Owning the running shoes replaces running. Buying the book replaces reading. The gap between who we symbolize and who we are begins to widen. Jean Baudrillard argued that modern society increasingly consumes science rather than utility. We consume meaning, not just objects. The saved course becomes a sign of self-improvement. The bookmarked restaurant becomes a sign of taste. The simulation of progress begins to substitute for progress itself. Sociologists such as Zygmunt Bauman described modern life as a continuous project of self-construction through consumption. P.A. Bourdieu showed how taste and possessions function as cultural capital. Even unused goods can signal identity. Consumer researcher Russell Belt proposed the idea of the extended self. Our possessions become part of who we are, and that attachment can form at the moment of acquisition. In other words, the self can expand through ownership alone. All of this supports the phantom consumption effect. Here's the contradiction. If anticipation produces genuine neurological reward, then the satisfaction is not fake. The dopamine response is real. The hope is real. The emotional lift is real. When someone buys a course and feels motivated for a day, that motivation is not imaginary. It is a real psychological state. So perhaps we are not being deceived. Perhaps we are purchasing emotional experiences. Perhaps what we are buying is not the course itself, but the feeling of alignment with who we want to become. In that sense, phantom consumption is not necessarily failure. It may be a rational exchange. Money for hope, access for identity reinforcement, possibility for motivation. The problem emerges only when we confuse emotional rehearsal with transformation. Possibility feels like movement, but movement requires action. The market can sell anticipation, it cannot complete the work for us. So here's the tension. Phantom consumption is not entirely illusion. The reward is real. But if anticipation becomes sufficient, action becomes optional. And if action becomes optional, the future self we keep purchasing never fully arrives. Hi, I'm Akanksha, and this was The Storyteller's Lens. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.